Hello guys, how are you? It's not a long time since I started YouTube channel. As far as I'm new in this, I apologize if I might make some mistakes while talking. But I plan a lot of useful videos and I will try to make every next video to have better quality and be more productive than the previous one. So consider to subscribe and don't forget to click the bell button to be informed for future videos. Thank you for being with me. Let's move on the main topic of the video. Today we're going to create a webpack-4 starter project which finally will have the following features. Compiling SASS into CSS, converting ES6 into ES5. We will enable hot module replacement HMR module to update changes without browser reload. We will enable image loading, and we will create two config files for production and for development. You can find the link, the project link, on my GitHub account, which is on the right side here, and I will post this link in the description of the video also. So this is the final result what we're going to receive. I'm going to run npm run start dev, which will finally start webpack-dev-server, and it will open the project URL. This alert comes from JavaScript to make sure that JavaScript is also compiled and working. This is the project setup. We're gonna have source folder. In source folder we will have images, SASS files, and JavaScript, and of course index.html. I included Bootstrap from CDN just for having these nice cards. And we have images, of course, to make sure that image loading works also fine. And we have ES6 ES6 module syntax. By the way, my IDE doesn't support JavaScript if I don't switch it into ES6. Okay, yeah, we are using ES6 module syntax, and we are exporting this person class, which is used in app.js, and it shows this alert, and we saw this alert. So when we change something in JavaScript or in index.html, it's automatically reloaded, and we see the changes, for example, 111, just to make sure that it works. So we saved, the browser was reloaded, and our new alert was displayed. And if we change something also in HTML, hello from Zora, this will also reload the browser, and we have this hello from Zora. If we change something in CSS, it doesn't reload the browser. It uses this HMR, and it just injects the new styles. Here it is. So if we change something, if we change the background color or something in the CSS, it's automatically changed without browser reload, which is pretty cool, I think, and which makes also development really fast. We will have, as I mentioned, two config files, one for development and second for production. So when we build this for production, let me do this. npm run build. This will create this folder in my project directory, which will have all of the things what is required for the project. Synchronize, and here is our dist folder. It has this index.html, which is minified because it's for production. We have this JavaScript file, which is not minified because I'm not using uglify.js for this. For main CSS, it's minified, and we have images, the images what is used in the project. Okay, let's start creating this project. Before we start actually creating the project, we need to initialize the project as an npm project. I assume that you have installed already Node.js. If not, please install it, and you can also check my previous videos about Webpack introduction. You can also find the link of these videos in the description. We should do this by running npm init, which will ask a couple of questions like the project name and other things. So I'm going to skip all of the things and just initialize it with default values. So now we have package.json available in the project, and we can install project dependencies. First of all, we need to install essential packages for Webpack project, which are webpack npm install webpack and webpack-cli. Then we're gonna install also CSS loader, style loader, and SASS loader, because we're gonna convert SASS into CSS. So style loader, CSS loader, SASS loader. And for SASS loader, we need to install also node SASS. And we need all of these packages to be saved as a dev dependencies, because we need them for development purposes. We don't need them for production. So by specifying save dev flag, save dev, all of these packages will be saved as dev dependencies. Let me install them and wait until they are fully installed in the project. Okay, our specified packages are already installed, but we need additional packages. Actually, I could install all of the packages in the same in the single command. Just it won't be really visible. So I decided to install in a separate command. So we need to install a Babel loader and Babel core and Babel preset env for converting ES6 into ES5. So by running npm I, which is shortcut for install, we're going to install Babel loader. We're going to install Babel core and Babel preset env. These all of them are for just converting ES6 into ES5. Additionally, we need HTML loader. We will need HTML webpack plugin, which is for creating a final index HTML. HTML webpack plugin. We need also to install clean webpack plugin, which is for deleting this folder before each build. Clean webpack plugin. We need file loader also for loading images. And finally, we need to install webpack-dev-server to have this built-in server. And we need all of them again for dev dependencies. So instead of writing -save dev, I'm gonna write -d, which is the shortcut for -save dev. So by running this, we will have most of the packages what we need. While this is done, let's create webpack config file for production and for development also. Webpack config.js. This is the default name of the webpack config file. So if you name your file like this, you don't need to specify the config file name. But if we name it differently, like for production, if we name it .prod.js, we need to specify then to use this prod.js, which we will do. Let's start with development. Okay, module exports is an object, and we're going to specify the parameters. First of all, we need to specify that the mode for this config file is development. And let's specify that our source file, which should be built, is under source app.js. And let's create this source folder and put there this app.js. Okay. Additionally, we need to enable dev tools. We will need source maps for development. Dev tool corresponds to source maps. Now let's move on plugins. We need to install some plugins. And we will need also module. It's an object. That's the basic skeleton of the webpack config file. We have some additional options like DevTool, source mode, and we have plugins and module, and you can put your plugins here and modules, of course, here. Let's start with maybe modules. Let's start with modules, and I'm going to copy this code here. Oops, my bad. We need for modules we need rules, which is an array, and we have different rules for different files. For example, this rule says that whenever Webpack matches this CSS file, please use style loader, CSS loader, and SASS loader. For ES6, we need the following rule. Whenever it matches m.js or JS files, it uses this Babel loader with preset, this Babel preset env. And in exclude we have node modules and bower components, so we're gonna watch these folders. For images, we need the following rule. Here are rules for images, which watches for the following extensions and uses file loader, and the file loader has its options. Basically, every loader has its options, and you can find the options for these loaders if you just search the documentation for the loader. And for the file loader, we have output path and name, which we are using right now. And output path is the folder where the following files should be saved in the final dist folder. In the name, by default, it generates the name with a hash. It has some random hash on every build, and we don't want to have this hash in the name, so I'm just writing here the original name dot the original extension. Let me delete these extra commas here, which is annoying because it gives me warnings. And we are using the HTML loader also. Basically, that's all about modules. Now let's move on. Let's move on plugins. We need HTML Webpack plugin, which is for generating index HTML. First of all, we need to require this HTML Webpack plugin const HTML Webpack plugin, which is require HTML Webpack plugin. And I'm going to use it here like this. So I'm creating an instance of HTML Webpack plugin and giving just a title there. Webpack starter project. Additionally, it's an optional. We can specify the template here also. The template should be an HTML file, which will be used to generate the final HTML file. So if we skip template, it will generate just simple HTML file with default the specified title and with some default meta attributes. But let's create our index HTML file here, and HTML head. Let me also copy and paste the template. Okay, here's my template, which is just simple HTML file. Okay, and I'm specifying the template what I want to specify for this Webpack plugin. So here, just writing template. Oops, template is under source index HTML. Source index HTML. Actually, it would be better if I use here path package, which is a native Node.js package, and which helps a lot to when working with file names. Path resolve this index HTML, and we need to require this path here. Const path is require path. Okay, now when we run our Webpack project, we will have this index HTML in the dist folder. Let's do this. npx webpack. Okay, we have error. Let's follow the error. Invalid configuration object webpack. Okay. It complains about source. Of course, we don't have source in the module exports. We have entry. Let's run npx webpack again. Yeah, now it's successfully built, and we have this dist folder, and we have JS there, which is actually app.js, and we have this index HTML, which is just it took our source index HTML as a template and injected there this main.js. Nothing special so far. Now let's move on and enable compilation of SASS into CSS. Let's create SCSS folder and create just style SCSS, not directory, but style sheet SCSS style. And we need to use this style in our app.js. So I'm going to import it. SCSS style CSS. Okay, so now when we specify some parameters like body, background is at least blue, for example, it complains. Yeah, again, we need to change our JavaScript version into ES6. Okay. Now, when we build this again, let me save this, and when we build this again, our index.html file cannot resolve. Okay, we are importing this from app.js. Yes, we need to specify dot and slash for specifying current directory. So we are doing this from the current directory. Now when we build this and when we open our index.html, yeah, the background is changed. We see that our CSS worked. Okay, let's move on and create a webpack-dev-server and start the project by the dev server itself. For this, we're gonna specify dev server property in the module exports. By doing this, by putting here dev server and I'm enabling the dev server actually, and it has additional options. Like the content base is where is the source files located, and these are in the source folder. Hot true parameter means that we are enabling this HMR, hot module replacement, which does which updates the page without browser reload. Open true specifies that we need to open the page when we start the server, and inline true tells that we need to inject the styles and JavaScript inline. So that's for webpack-dev-server, and we can actually in order this hot module replacement to work properly, we need to also add this in plugins. So we need in plugins we need to add this webpack hot module replacement plugin, and of course we need to require webpack here. Okay, let me create scripts in package.json to start the project easily. So I'm gonna delete this test, and I'm gonna create two scripts. Start dev, which is webpack-dev-server, and I'm gonna specify build script, which is for production. npx webpack and the script name is build, and we're going to specify also the production config file for npx webpack minus config webpack config prod.js. Right now our webpack config prod.js is empty, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna write the code there also. Now let's start the project using npm run start dev, which runs webpack-dev-server. npm run start :dev. Okay, the project was started, and the URL was opened on the right side. It is empty, of course, but the background color is changed as we specified in the style CSS folder. Let's move on and put there some HTML to see how HTML reload works. I'm going to copy and paste this HTML code here, and as far as we are using the Bootstrap styles here, I'm going to also include the Bootstrap link from the CDN. Okay, save this, and we have an error. And the error says that it cannot find the images because we are using images in the HTML file. But as far as we are using the HTML loader in the webpack config file, it actually analyzes this HTML file and tries to find the corresponding image to copy then into the dist folder. So we don't have these images, and it complains about this. Let's add the images there. Okay, here are our images, and we don't see warnings anymore. And if we restart our webpack-dev-server, yeah, we have the HTML there. By running npm start dev, it opens URL every time, so I'm going to close the old ones. We have done most of the things so far. We have enabled this dev server. We have on changes it reloads. Hello, Yeah, that's the thing. We haven't done everything. We need to add additional properties in the webpack config file to reload the browser on change. So we need to add watch parameter to true. Watch true. By doing this, we tell that we want to watch the files, and it will reload on HTML change. Let me do the following. I'm gonna show npm scripts here. I'm gonna close this and start it from here. Now, when it started, let me also open the developer tools. Now when I change something in HTML, it should work. Exactly. When I change something in HTML, it automatically reloads. When we specify watch parameter true, we can actually specify additional watch options here. Watch options, and we can say how often we want to watch files. For example, poll parameter, and specifying this to 1000 milliseconds tells us we want to check file changes in every second. And we have additional parameter here for aggregate timeout, which is just for collecting all changes together and doing building them all together. So this will, let's put it 500 milliseconds here. So every changes which happen in 500 milliseconds, they will be gathered together and build in this single build. And we have additional parameter which we should specify, which is ignored. And this ignored is for ignoring the folder which we don't want to watch. And in this case, I'm gonna specify there a regular expression for node modules folder. Now our dev config file is fully done. We did this. We added the watch parameters. We enabled the dev server. We have this HTML webpack plugin which generates this index HTML, which is what is displayed here, and we have all the rules what we need there. So dev server works fine. Let's create another JavaScript file which will export something, and we will import it in app.js. For example, person.js. Just create a class for person. Export default class person. In constructor, we're going to specify name, which I'm going to save in a public variable. And then I'm going to create method say hello. Really simple, which returns this name. Or let's use like this, hello from this name. And let's import this class here. Import from person.js, import person from person.js, and I'm going to create an instance of this person, new person, giving it name, and I'm gonna just alert it p say hello. Let me put this in timeout, set timeout after half a second. Okay, that's all. When I save this, the browser reloads, and after reloading, after half a second of the reload, I see this hello from Zurab. If I change right now something in the SCSS, if I create, for example, new SCSS file, main SCSS, and I import, and I put there body has padding of 50 pixel, and I import this import main CSS, main SCSS. When I save this, yeah, we need to restart the dev server, I assume. No, I made a mistake. I need to import this main CSS in style, of course. So I need to import this main CSS in style CSS, and when I save this, it automatically injects new styles there. That's all for development environment. Now let's create a webpack config pro.js file. I'm going to copy everything from this dev and put it here, and change some things like production. The mode is production. We don't want to watch anything, because when we build something in production, we want it to be built. We don't want this dev server, and we don't want also dev tool. We don't want this hot module replacement plugin also. Of course, we need the rules here. And additionally, we need to use clean webpack plugin to delete the dist folder before each build. New clean webpack plugin, and specifying here the folder which I want to delete. It's a dist folder. And of course, I need to require this plugin also. Clean webpack plugin. And additionally, I want to extract the CSS into a separate file. Right now, if I run npm build, it will create this. It will first delete this dist folder and then create this dist folder. Let's wait until it's done. Yes, and we have images there, index.html and main.js. This main.js is already minified because we have this mode for production, and here's our index.html. But our CSS is injected again from the JavaScript. So right now, if I open this index.html, I can see that my styles are applied. We have this background and we have padding. Styles are applied, just they come from the main.js. I want to extract into separate CSS file. So I can do this by using mini CSS extract plugin. So mini CSS extract plugin, which is just dashed version. Mini CSS extract plugin, and I assume that I remember that we haven't installed this plugin. So npm install mini CSS extract plugin -d for development. And while this is installed, I'm going to specify this plugin here, new mini CSS extract plugin, which has a couple of options here. So in the first argument is options, and we can specify some things here. Again, for full list of options, you can check the plugin documentation, and you can find a lot of information there, and I really recommend you to check them out. But for now, we're going to specify a file name, which will be the name.css. That's basically all what we want to specify, and right now when I run build, npm run build, it should create this CSS file in a separate file. Okay. Synchronize. Yeah, one thing which I missed is that inside rules, here when we test for CSS files, we need to specify not style loader, which injects this CSS in the style tag, but instead we need to use this mini CSS extract plugin loader. And by doing this, instead of style loader, it will create this into separate file. And here it is. Now when we run npm run build, our CSS was created, which is not minified. And we have the JavaScript minified, we have HTML, we have CSS. Basically, this is the everything bundled in this folder what we need. Additionally, let's add image optimization, CSS optimization to compress the CSS to save the traffic. So for CSS compression in Pro.js, we need to specify the optimization parameter in the module exports, and we should use this optimize CSS asset plugin. So which again we need to install. The full name is optimize CSS assets webpack plugin, and we need to install it. npm install this for development. Okay, our plugin is installed, and let's run npm run dev, run build. Okay, now when we check our main CSS file, it's minified there. Here's our index.html, which is not minified, but it's not a big deal. So this is basically the end of the video. We created the full Webpack Starter Kit project, which is ready for development and for production. For development, we are using this webpack-dev-server, which is pretty cool for development, and it makes the development really fast. Again, you can find the link of this project in the video description, and the project is on my GitHub account, so you can clone the project, ready project, and test it and play with it and make some changes there. So and I really encourage you to do this. That's all for now. I hope you like the video. Please leave comments below and let me know what you think about my videos and what you think specifically on this video. Thanks again for watching. Please hit like and subscribe buttons for more videos. See you next time.